If everyone, I was going to say that. I was going to say that next. If everyone could please mute, it's just easier. And also, we are going to be recording it. So if you are uncomfortable being recorded or whatever, you can go off camera and remove your name. We're really thankful to see so much interest in this topic. The Department of Corrections thinking about removing physical mail is upsetting to all of us. So we are Restore Justice, primarily a policy group on typically trying to adjust sentencing, but we do often go into conditions of confinement. We're here along with the group MAMAS, which is MAMAS Activating Movement for Abolition. Did I get it right? Yay. And also that's Akeisha and Denise, I believe. And then Midwest Books to Prison will also be here. We are going to ask again that you're on mute, and if you have questions, we'll be monitoring the chat and we will get to your questions. As far as the agenda, we'll have Akeisha, we'll have the mamas up first, Midwest Books, then James from Restore Justice, and Lizzie will tell you how you can take action now. And with that, and I'm going to let everyone else do their own introductions. I think that always goes best. And by the way, my name is Julie Anderson, and I'm the outreach director from Restore Justice. So welcome, and I'm going to turn this over to Akeisha.
All right, cool. So we're gonna just intro as we speak. That's fine. Okay, cool. Hey y'all. So my name is Akeisha Lee. I am a program assistant with Mamas. Denise Spencer's also here for Mamas, and she'll speak after my portion. So just real quick, I'm gonna talk about kind of why we're here today and why mail matters for people who are in prison. So for those of y'all who don't know Mamas, we're a group of 10 mothers and one father whose sons have been wrongfully incarcerated. 7 of Mama's members' sons are currently incarcerated and have been for decades. So for Mamas and their sons, mail is a lifeline. Mail allows their sons to remain connected to their families. And as many of y'all know who are impacted by prisons don't prioritize the social or mental health of prisoners, right? Video visits, phone calls, and in-person visits are canceled without reason, and in-person visits are shortened and rescheduled. In October, a few of our members made their way for a 3-hour drive down to Hill Prison just to have their visit shortened to less than an hour. They're supposed to be 4 hours long, and they were shortened because there was a lockdown due to understaffing. Right. So other forms of connection can't replace mail, right? Because mail is one of the few ways people who are incarcerated have to talk to their loved ones without surveillance, and they can keep that item and revisit it. So mail helps relationships on the outside world remain tangible to incarcerated people. And now that lifeline is being threatened. So on September 23rd of this year, a group of 6 legislators sent a letter to the IDOC director that this was rooted in a concern for safety and response to exposure to drugs and other unknown substances within the prison facilities. And they claim to have been in communication with union reps for IDOC employees that wanted this as well. However, this is the result of murmurings coming over the last year or so with IDOC and Lieutenant Governor offices planning to transition IDOC to a fully digitized mail system, which would further privatize and monetize a business already happening within the prison. So people who are incarcerated wouldn't be able to receive actual photos, cards, handwritten letters from loved ones, and if further limits the relationship and is dehumanizing. People inside of the jail, sorry, inside of the prison, have already said that this has been confirmed and they haven't been receiving mail. It haven't since. So the issue with this is it doesn't actually promote any kind of safety, right? So many experts, medical experts, have debunked the idea that any type of exposure to drugs can happen due to just simply handling mail. I can drop a link too. There's a link that shows a couple of folks talking about this, and we won't have time to watch it now. Cool. And we have resources at the end too we can share with you. We have a whole list of people who talk about the issue of drugs and mail and that there's not really a connection there. It's been debunked many times. And in other states where this has already been implemented, the flow of drugs has not been reduced. People are not safer, right? So we know that there's clearly a problem with drugs in IDOC prisons, but this policy in particular only restricts people's freedom. And we need actual answers and things that can promote safety. And with that, I'm gonna pass it over to Denise if she'd like to share how this personally impacts her family.
Hi, my name is Denise Spencer, and it impacts me in a tremendous way. Not only me, my family and friends, because when let's picture them taking away the mail. So now we no longer can send mail. If we send mail, they will take it away or either won't give it to them like they're doing now. Now you don't send them a picture of something that maybe you with the kids, your grandkids 5 years ago, and he don't remember. So now you give him the picture of that. He give you a picture with him in high school, probably with a couple of friends. You give him that. You send him a picture of you and him and your mother and his uncles and cousins and brothers. Okay, so you send those pictures to him. Now he's sitting there just that time for, say he's alone in his cell and he's looking at those pictures. Now he's reminiscing, his memory coming back to those days. He's enjoying himself. He's feeling happy at once. Before the pictures came, he was probably upset about something or depressed about something. And then he looked at that picture and he began to reminisce with the picture. That take him back, take his mind off of whatever was going around him then. It is no longer there because now he has joy from what he's looked at. Now, if they take it, they say they want to digitize. If they take it and put it through a black copy, put it in their computer. Mind you, computers are not always guaranteed to work. Now they're taking it, put it through the computer. Now, what if the tablet they gave him blank out? So now the picture's gone, everything's gone. He got to wait till he get another tablet, if that tablet works. And then guess what? You better call your parents and ask them if they got another picture, then we can send those pictures back through again. What if I only gave him that copy? Just imagine you writing a letter. You sitting there, you writing to your son, you're crying, you're laughing, because you let them know everything that went on with you and the family and how the kids are growing and all this going on. So now you take there and you put your letter in, you send it to him. Now he's sitting there, he's reading it. And then he's laughing and he's crying, he's enjoying. Now he in his mind being locked up in there, he's with us because he's reading the letter. He's getting to know the kids. He got the pictures. Okay, so-and-so had a baby. She's showing him the pictures of the babies. He's walking through those pictures with me and reading that letter at the same time. And nothing but joy. You can't get that if they take it away. You can't get that if you take it away. They're not gonna have that picture. They're not gonna have that letter. Sometimes they have a bad day. And they're going in their mattress and go in their box or whatever they have, pull that letter out and start reading it. Then right there, they are enjoying themselves. They're enjoying themselves and they're having a good time. He's having a good time with the letter. They take those letters and cards and pictures away. That's gonna devastate not only him but me too. Because guess what? We can't communicate no more. Not in the way that I normally communicate with him. So I think that for them, like I said, there's an excuse to say there's drugs on the mail. And oh, now you're sick. They're making excuses because they're too lazy. They're tired of reading our letters. They don't want to read because they got to sit there and look and make sure we're not putting anything in there or they got the scanning and smelling. When they can sit there, they be sitting there drinking their coffee and eating whatever they eating and wait something on and say, oh, don't send it back, say somebody wait something on it. That's unfair to us. That's unfair to them. And that's violating our rights. You're going to take away a right to sit, after we sit down and wrote the letter, you're going to take that away from us to even distribute it to them? No. No, no. You already kidnapped them when they were in there wrongfully convicted. You know what I'm saying? At least my son, wrongfully convicted. Now you want to take that away too? So you're trying to alleviate communication with families. So now you're messing with their mental. I just figured that is disheartening. And for me to think that if I write a letter, he would never get it. Like now, my son, lawyer, sent him a letter, and you know he haven't had it. It's been 2 months and he has yet to get it. And that's what he needs to refile for his clemency. So now, if he don't have that paper, he can't file. So they're holding their legal mail now, holding up progress. For him, a means of getting out of there. That's that right there. And that's disheartening to me. And I know how he feels. And he tries to not put up this. You can hear in his voice the squeak as he got tears as he talking to you, but he's trying to be manly and act like if no tears dropping. But I can tell a different tone in my son's voice. He just told me yesterday, I do not have the letter, Mama. I still haven't got the letter. That's wrong. Something has to happen. Something has to stop them from trying to take the communication away from the inmates and their family. We have to talk to the legislator, whatever it takes, to let them see that this is unacceptable.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Janine.
Okay, that's all for us. I'm going to pass it back over to Julie to keep us going through the agenda.
Absolutely. I just want to kind of just say thank you for sharing that. And I couldn't agree more. And I'll just add briefly, for 15 years, my own son was incarcerated 27 and a half years, and he's been home 18 months. And for 15 years, I've gathered family members together to sign Christmas cards. We all put our signature on it, like however many are there. We take photos, we include them. Here's all of us signing these. And we just did that. And it gives the people inside great joy, but it also gives those family members and loved ones a feeling of community. If I want to send my son a birthday card, I can't send him a cake, can't send him a gift. What I can do is send him a birthday card and actually think about when he gets that card and opens it. So we can't even stress how absolutely important we feel that mail is. And I think that it won't solve the problem that they think it's going to, the drug problem. It's going to make matters worse, I believe. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy from Midwest Books to Prisoners.
Hey, y'all. Respects and solidarity to y'all. Thank you, Restore Justice and MAMAS and all the other comrades who are here sharing their experiences with the carceral system and this problem with mail censorship. Midwest Books to Prisoners, we've been around for 20 years. We send reading materials, books, zines, and other forms of solidarity to folks behind bars here in Illinois and throughout the so-called United States for more than 20 years. And so myself, I'm also former incarcerated. And so we know like the life-changing, life-saving power of books behind bars. And so in this carceral world of fences and walls, which is meant to dehumanize and isolate, access to communication remains one of the ways in which people behind bars are able to remain connected to humanity, connected to their family and loved ones, being able to read and being able to experience the world beyond what's on their televisions or their radios, if you even have access to those, right? So we send books and zines and stuff like that. And we just want to talk a little bit about this past 2 or 3 years, which we have seen a draconian escalation in censorship, mostly characterized by this digitization, this tablet system, mail scanning. It's also censorship. They call it content neutral forms of censorship. So, oh, we only accept hardcovers. Oh, we only accept single-sided papers. Oh, we are getting so many stains and stickers and crinkled pages that all these staff members are now rejecting books that we are sending in by the hundreds every single month. Usually as cover for political content because they don't like what we're sending in, or they just don't like the ability. They don't even like doing the work, so they just like reject it because it's a hardcover book or it's got a stain and stuff like that, right? And it remains extremely difficult to challenge because, for one, folks on the inside who are the grievance process is more or less an endless hamster wheel. The Prison Litigation Reform Act prevents people from being able to meaningfully sue. And then even if you do get in front of a court, the courts almost always defer to prison authorities because of the safety and security of the institution. And so far, almost like half the state prison systems have transferred to some type of digitization or mail scanning program, and that has happened without any type of public oversight or any type of like successful legal challenge. So we know the importance of communication because the reality is the people on the outside, those of us who are lucky to be out here in minimum security, mostly don't know the reality of the truth of what's happening inside. And the people inside don't have the truth and reality of what's happening outside. So we are trying to pierce their walls through solidarity by building bridges and sending reading materials and so forth. This most recent Illinois push is by these right-wing Republican politicians, and like these Illinois prison guard asked me, union members are walking off and faking like they're being sick by handling the mail. They're supposed to be wearing like gloves and masks and so forth, but the reality is there's been so many study after study that shows that you can't actually have any type of incidental reaction from by handling the mail or handling anything physically like that. So these cops are basically lying. They're throwing a media stunt, and all these media channels have repeated headlines without any type of verification or investigation. They're just simply reporting as true. We've done FOIAs, we're getting denied. Illinois DOC has been pretty quiet about the whole thing. But there's this bill, and so we really need everybody out there to take action to prevent this mail scanning from taking place. And we're looking at a full spectrum of options here. So we are doing an action network, and I think someone's going to talk about that a little bit later. But what the work that Midwest Books has done, a year or two ago, we've done a survey to over like 1,500 people, our correspondents behind bars and stuff like that, and asked them, what has the censorship been like at your institution? Have you been able to get mail? Have you been able to get books? What the type of stuff you like? Have you been able to publish? Have you been able to send materials and so forth? And so we published a lot of these studies. You could read some of our zines on our website, midwestbookstoprisoners.org. But specifically from the Illinois stuff, I want to read one or two quotes and so forth of some of the experiences that we've had. For example, Cook County Jail does not have a library, does not have a law library. You have to fill out a form, and then like maybe a couple weeks later, you'll get like 5 printed out pages and so forth like that. This is a quote from Cook County. Quote, we don't get to have the books from the law library. We fill out a form to get a copy of what she wants us to have and whatever we request. So it's 30 pages. She might give us only 5. Speaking about the tablets in Illinois, this is someone from an anonymous person at Pinckneyville saying that the reading material on our tablets are from the middle 50s, 1950s and back, all outdated material. GTL is a service provider, and it is no good. They're referring to that, like a lot of these tablet providers say, oh, you have access to books. You don't no longer need to receive books from groups like ours, Midwest Books for Prisoners. No, you could read them all on the tablet, and they got 70,000 titles. The reality is that almost all these titles were titles that the copyrights have expired. They're over 80 years old. So you got people reading like all these old ass books. It's just a censorship. Censorship takes many forms. These content neutral restrictions, like I told you about, but also the financialization of it. Like you have to pay to even buy one of these tablets. You have to pay by the minute often to be able to send and receive text messages. It's not true actual access to the internet. Other forms of censorship that these tablets have, let's say someone on the unit is caught smoking and stuff like that, the guard will actually sometimes revoke everybody's access to their tablets because of what one person allegedly does. It's called group punishment. They're not even supposed to be doing it, but the reality is that once you introduce these type of technologies and give these cops that sort of power on a whim, they could just like abuse that power. And so it's unfair to deny someone's communication because of what someone else allegedly does. Otherwise, Yeah, these emails, like, honestly, we believe that you should set the bar high. It's actually a disgrace that people are spending all these years in prison, not having access to the internet, which is the primary way in which people on the outside here consume and receive information about what's happening in the world. So people are being released to the world without ever having used a smartphone. How do you expect people to apply for jobs? How do you expect people to apply for um, apartment applications and so forth, right? So we actually believe that we should set the bar high. You should give people access to the unrestricted internet. But unfortunately, these private companies are the wave of censorship. It's the tip of the spear. Companies like Securus, JPay, GTL, Smart Communications are predators, that they are getting these contracts from these state contractors, tens and tens of millions of dollars, so they could monitor and so they could surveil and replace physical mail. And I can't tell you how mad people are and how upset people are about the prospect that they could be denied physical mail. Like if you've been behind bars and you're sitting there looking at a wall and stuff like that, you know, you could get a letter slid under your door. That's going to make your month. That might make your 6 months, man. That might save your life knowing that someone, and you know how frustrated it is for folks, family members on the outside trying to communicate. They might send a letter and then they get a rejection 3-4 weeks later saying, oh, we were unable to deliver it because you wrote on both sides and we only accept single-sided pieces of paper and stuff like that, right? And so the reality is a lot of people just give up. And so look, Midwest Books of Prisoners, we are not giving up on the folks in Sidebar. We are going to fight to stop this slide of censorship. We are not taking this stuff anymore. Plenty more to say about it, but I don't want to take too much time on this call. But I'm definitely free. Feel free to come through. We meet twice a week. We pack books if you want to get your hands dirty and answer some letters and stuff like that. Please check out our website and our zine. We have more information about censorship. We also released an article in Southside Weekly a couple weeks ago. Illinois is going to be the state where we stop book bans. You know, I mean, we are not doing this book ban stuff. This rise of fascism is happening inside and outside of prison, and you know, maybe there's a lot of else stuff that's going on in the world. But this is one thing: we're not going to abandon these 2 million folks who are behind bars, and so we know that one day that folks are going to get out, and you know, we're looking after those who have nothing to lose and everything from gain from overthrowing this corrupt society. So I'm just rambling. So that's all I really got to say right now. But let us know if there's any questions or anything.
I think that's brilliant, and thank you. I love that. And that segues perfectly into our next speaker, which is James from Restore Justice, because James is going to tell you what's happening kind of in Springfield and what actions we're thinking about taking. So, James?
Thanks, Jules. Good evening, everybody. I'm James Swansea. I'm the policy manager here at Restore Justice. I too am formerly incarcerated. I'm a former juvenile lifer. I met Julie through her son, who she spoke about. This December it'll be 4 years that I've been home. So I definitely know the importance of this issue that the Department of Corrections feels like is a solution to a problem that's, and this is my personal perspective, that's been there for a long time. So this is not going to solve anything. But what I want to do is just give you guys the information about what's going on as far as the opposite side of this, really what took place. There was a piece of legislation that was filed, House Bill 5893, and it was filed by Representative David Freese from the 115th district, which is Redbud. And if anybody knows their institution, Menard Correctional Center is in his district. So, it was more or less of a political strategy from, the incidences or the alleged incidents that's been happening in the Southern institution. So that was a political move as far as that, and we just would like to let you guys know that that's not something that, I won't say that we're not worried about it, but, just going along with the process, we like to let you guys know that, they have to put in the work just like we do, right? Like we're gathering everybody right now to, do the exactly opposite of what that bill requires, which is just to, give you guys what it says verbatim. House Bill 5893 requires the Department of Corrections to implement a policy of electric scanning and processing of all incoming mail in all Department of Correction institutions and facilities. So basically, they're trying to know what Denise spoke of, those moments like that. I always like to tell people from a personal aspect, one of the things that I held on to during my incarceration were letters from my grandmother. I still have them to this day. I also like to say that like 6 of them I wrote in pencil. That likes to, that's unique, right? I'll never be able to get that back, right? So um, uh, the process is the same for them, more so. They just filed a piece of legislation. I think that's a political strategy. And we also would just like to let you guys know that we at Restore Justice are also working on legislation that we plan on filing this upcoming session. We just want to make sure that we get everything right. One thing we know for sure is that the Department of Corrections looks for every little piece of wiggle room, right? So we want to make sure, that we're just not reactionary to them. We want to plan and, make sure that, everybody's voice is heard and make sure that we do it the right way. We really don't want to forget about anybody, and we want to consider all scenarios when it comes to this. So that's why we put this together to let everybody see that, this is a very important issue. So I'd like to just speak a little bit more towards the few session days that are coming up, veto session. And veto session is literally 6 days that I set aside. This year it's in November. And its original use is to deal with pieces of legislation that the governor has vetoed. It's more or less would give legislators have to put in a little bit more work to go from a regular majority to a supermajority. But this year, there were no bills that the governor vetoed. So, these days will literally be used to further legislation that's, already pending, to have conversations such as these. That's kind of like why we're trying to activate the community the way that we are, so that we do have something to talk about when we go down there to veto session, right? I think the biggest thing that we have to know is that when you do have a take action, right, it's going to all different legislators, right? We're all not writing the same legislators. So, that's one thing that we know for sure. And as long as you have an address, you're writing to a specific legislator. So you are voicing your concern, right? So this is the time that, that we can sit down and talk to these legislators. That's the importance of veto session. It's time to educate. You will have a lot of legislators that really don't know the aspect, like Jeremy just broke it down. More so, it's a lot of things that's going on. It's not just about banning physical mail, right? It's about individuals' lifelines. It's about humanity. It's about reentry. It's about all that, right? And all this is connected. And they want to try to make it seem like it's a small issue, but it's huge, right? These are things that we want legislators to know, because at the end of the day, that is how we will be effective. We actually can get this legislated to where this will not happen, right? This is what we're trying to do. So these letters that you will hear about later on, more so, is something that's very important. And this is the time to do it, because now is when we'll be able to talk to these legislators. And even though we may not be able to get things done in this veto session, this sets the precedent for the upcoming session when we need it the most. So
Thank you so much. Yeah, restore justice, the goal for all of us is to get some type of legislation written and put in that says that people will be guaranteed their physical mail and they can never take it away from them, because we all know the Department of Corrections. Even if they agreed to it now, you don't know what's going to happen when the next director comes or the next governor. So it really needs to go into law. And it sounds like it should be an easy thing. It'll be an uphill climb. But I think everybody's ready for it. This affects every single person in prison and all of their loved ones. And this isn't, sometimes when you write a law, it affects, 85 people or 200. This affects 28,000 people who are currently incarcerated, plus the people in jails too, which that's another fight, her story. But I'm going to turn it over to Lizzie from Restore Justice, because she's going to tell you some of the actions you can take right now, which is why we called this meeting. And it's so well attended. Thank you. And I'm going to let Lizzie take it away.
Thanks, Julie. Hi, everybody. My name is Lizzie Lewandowski. I'm the communications manager at Restore Justice. We are like so thrilled that so many people came out and are interested in learning more. I'm gonna show you one of the ways that that we set up for you guys to be able to take action right now. And then after I'm done, I'll put the link in the chat. So some of you are probably familiar with Action Network. This is a tool we use. Sorry, I'm letting people in from the waiting room also. This is a tool we use to make it really easy for people to write to their legislators. You'll, oh, I'm going to mute people who are just hopping in now. But what you do is you put your information in here. Let's see if I can type my name properly. Emails from us. We won't take it personally. And then up here we have some tips. So we have drafted a letter for you, but that doesn't mean that you have to use exactly what we use. So you can keep it local, remind your legislators that you're a part of their community. Keep it short. They get a lot of letters. You know, this is already kind of a long one, and keep it values-based. But it really helps to personalize these things, especially if you are formerly incarcerated or if you have a loved one who's incarcerated or feel strongly about the way that this impacts you. Like, please feel free to personalize these letters. So right here, it shows you who the letter is being sent to. So we have this set up for the letter to go to the governor and then to your state level legislators. So you can see my legislators here. This is the subject line. And then here's the letter itself. And when you can go in and edit as much or as little as you would like, and then you just hit send when you're ready to go. So I'm going to stop screen sharing for a second and then put the link in the chat so that you guys can go ahead and do this right now. But you know, like James was saying, legislators are going to be in Springfield for veto session this week. This is a really great time to get in touch with them and to make your voice heard. I'm also going to share there's a great toolkit put together by our friends at MAMAS and Midwest Books to Prisoners with, is the link not showing up in the chat? Can people see that? Sorry. Oh, weird. Hang on. Let me try again and I'll do it one more time. Thanks for pointing that out, everybody. But there's also a toolkit with some research and context and a draft letter that you could send to Director Latoya Hughes, who is currently in charge of the Department of Corrections. So here's the toolkit as well. You know, if you're looking for lots of ways to jump in and take action. We also would love you know, we're working on a lot of different ways to approach this issue, and it's so personal for so many of us. So we want to invite folks who are here tonight to share your experiences if you're comfortable with why mail is important to you. If you're formerly incarcerated or if your loved one is currently incarcerated or formerly incarcerated, there's a Google form that I just put a link to in the chat. And I'll share my screen so you can take a peek and recognize it. But we're collecting stories to share with legislators and with the media. And if you're comfortable sharing, or you can use, like, you just say anonymous if you want to remain anonymous, you can share your experience. And that's another really great way to help us out as we're working on this, because the people in charge don't know the way that this is impacting people until we tell them, and that's why your voices are so important. I also, one other thing I wanted to share is Restore Justice published on our website a mail scanning explainer today with some research that we conducted about what the way that this has not worked in other states, let me say, as well as some of the impacts on people who are incarcerated and their family members. So, if you want to like look at that, I put that in the chat as well. And feel free to share these resources and spread them around and spread the word about this, because the more people we have talking to their legislators about this and talking to the Department of Corrections about this, the more successful we hope we can be. Like Jeremy said, we're in this fight to protect people who are incarcerated and their loved ones, and this is such an important lifeline. Please put your questions in the chat. We have some time to answer questions. I saw someone earlier asked, will the digitized versions create extra costs? And I did want to address that. I put in the chat. And it depends on the state. States have done things a lot of different ways, but typically, yes, there are additional costs associated with it. I know example from Florida is when mail scanning was introduced there. Since then, people need to pay to have their mail printed in order to get it off the tablet or off the kiosk. And so that's an additional cost that they or their family members and their loved ones are paying. In North Carolina, people send their mail through an app. So you have to pay an additional fee to send things through that app. There are a number of ways that we see this impacting people and creating additional costs. Tangential to that is often these services don't work very well. Not only do they not like stop drugs from entering prisons, and but they also are frequently creating illegible or poor quality copies, and they're consistently delayed. So people given those conditions tend to use the mail less and then tend to rely on other more expensive forms of communication. Like the more costly way of doing things is you pay more for phone calls, you pay more for video visits, you pay for emails, and so these companies are profiting off of those all the people who switch their primary mode of communication as well. And that's all I'll say on all of this. And yes, there are comments in the chat as well about people whose tablets don't work, and that doesn't even get into whether you have Wi-Fi in your cell or not, and all of the little logistical things that make this so complicated and so unnecessarily complicated. But please put your questions in the chat. Let us know what information you are curious about. And please do, I'll put the link in one more time. Please do write to your legislators and tell them to oppose this.
The legislators will read those. You'll bring this to their attention. There's a lot of bills, there's a lot of laws, there's a lot of groups, people are always coming at them, right? And our goal right now, I think, is for letters is not huge. It's 1,000 letters, and we've already gotten 500 sent in. But I think 1,000, if there's 28,000 people incarcerated, 1,000 letters, it shouldn't be hard for us to get if we all do one now. And I'll tell you, when I wrote my letter, I live in a very Republican district, and I started my letter, the first paragraph I personalized for myself. I just said I had a son, and this was sending cards was very important to me. It was a connection, and they responded very, very quickly to me. So they will read that, especially if you are directly impacted or been formerly incarcerated. They're really going to respond to that. And the letter, I think, is pretty well written. And again, like Lizzie said, we don't want to be too wordy on it. 20 states are currently doing this. And I think one of the reasons no one's been able to stop them is a lot of times they don't get a heads up that it's being done. We talked to someone in the national campaign, and they went to send something to Minnesota, which 1 week ago they sent, and then they got it sent back. Now we're doing scanning. No one knew. They just went to it. So we have this gift right now, and short, I mean, it was filed it, but we've kind of seen what they're trying to do. And we all know once they get something, it's really hard to get it out. So the goal is to stop them ever from doing scanning. And in all honesty, scanning has all kinds of bad quality, no computers, etc. But I wouldn't care if, a fairy came down and sprinkled magic scanning dust on everything so people could read it clearly. I still think a hand signed letter from your mom or your child is I don't care how well it's scanned. You can never ever think about the importance of that. And I hope there's some questions, and I hope everybody does it and shares it with 10 people who share it with 10 people, like, et cetera, right? So I'm looking for questions. Do we have any? Or do they?
Can I do a comment on young children and the importance of physical mail to young children? So for many years, we've advised mothers of young kids to send put something in the middle that is their child's favorite thing, or a big heart. And grandma or dad or whoever, every night, part of the bedtime ritual, puts the paper hug on the kid and says, your mommy's thinking of you right now, and she really loves you. And it made such a difference. I know it's not the same as having an actual visit, and it's not the same even as having a phone call, but that child was reminded every day that you still have a mom and your mom still loves you. And that physical part of the ritual made a world of difference because it was from their mom and it had been personalized to them. So I would hate to see that no longer be a possibility.
Thank you. And it goes both ways. And Rhonda, I see has her hand up. And
yes, thank you. And greetings to everyone on this Veterans Day. I'm very honored to be a part of this. I am a close friend to a member in the MAMAS coalition. I'm a part of the Chicago Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression. This is my third meeting today on Veterans Day. My son is incarcerated at Menard Prison, where he is in solitary confinement, has been for the last maybe 13 years. He was there with Anthony Gay, who I attended his funeral. And Anthony Gay has a bill with the legislature in the House of Representatives. And that bill is H3, let me get it right, 3564. 3564. Senator Robert Peters dropped the bill. The bill is about solitary confinement, more than 10 days. Anthony Gay died from cancer due to mold at Menard Prison. They knew he had state. No, I'm just letting you know it's Veterans Day. My son is a Lance Corporal.
Yeah. Do you have a question?
I'm just saying all this to say, okay, back to the question. I'm sorry. I pivot because this is my third meeting today.
Okay.
After this conversation, after this meeting today, and I love it, but who are your contacts in legislators? You're asking us. I have 3. Who are yours? And we're making moves right now. We have bills in the House that's going to Senate, and they're in session right now as of tomorrow. What are you doing? What are we talking about? We're talking about making it happen, but after all of these 75 participants at the end of this conversation, What are the takeaways, the action items to refresh the next meeting?
Okay, thank you for that question. And I am going to refer to Lizzie, and then April, we'll get to your question. But I'll refer to Lizzie because she's going to give you your action item again.
Yeah, the reason that we have the Action Network tool set up is that it is like your legislators want to hear from you as your constituent. So, our team, our policy team is in Springfield, and they talk to everybody, and they know everybody, but your legislators want to hear from you because you are the people who vote for them. You are the people who have the power to keep them in office or take them out of office. So the best way to reach people across the board right now is for each of us to focus on the people who are responsible for us and for representing us in Springfield. And
Well, that's what I just said. That's what I just said.
Absolutely. So
I respond. I think I can give her the answer that she's looking
okay.
for. Basically, Rhonda, what we're asking you to do is to keep that alive. I understand what you're saying, and I understand your frustration behind what it is that you're saying that was happening as far as that. But this is just the way that we are trying to get people to correctly do what it is that you've been doing already. Everybody may not be as experienced as you are in this aspect of the legislative landscape in Illinois, right?
Okay.
It's definitely not as easy as as it may seem, to get these logical, sensible issues across two legislators. So that's kind of
Right.
like why we're doing this. So we just want to
Right.
continue
I
to educate people.
apologize. I apologize.
No problem. We
Okay.
definitely understand the passion that comes with this and I do have to say that I know your son, so I definitely understand where the passion comes from, and that is what we're trying to do. We need legislators to understand that this is not just something as simple as the issue is. It's bigger than that. So that is why we're asking people to write these letters so we can let them know that we are in contact with the community, and it is about more than just Restore Justice, Mamas, and Midwest Books. So we appreciate you.
Yeah. Give me your name again.
I'm James. My name is James Swansea. They call me Swan in the joint. He'll tell you he knows me.
Thank you for
Okay.
sharing
All
your
right.
question.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll be quiet. I'll mute
Oh, no,
myself.
that's fine. That's fine. We just have a few other, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we'll go to April.
Hi, everyone. My name is April Ward. My son is Mikael Ward. He's in Pontiac. So I don't know if this is a question or a statement, but I guess a couple of months ago, they took his tablet. And my thing is, if you take someone's tablet, so how do you supposed to get mail if they take it and they not gonna give it back? That's something that we need to look at, because the more they do things to the our loved ones, and it's so hard trying to get get it back. They'll give you all excuses to why they took it. And not only did they take it, they broke it. So now in terms, he has to buy another tablet. And that's more money. And I'm sick and tired of Pontiac doing things to him and nothing. I mean, I go to the ward and try to go to the ward. I try to go to the states Senate. I've tried everything, and it seems like it's just not doing nothing. So maybe someone can help me with that. Thank you.
I'm not That's a big one. Yeah, it's not right that they took his tablet. Certainly not right that he broke it. And um, it- we've had things like trainings about this, and the thing is, he has to write a grievance. I know that it's a frustrating process, but that's the process. He has to write a grievance, and we would ask you.
That's been there.
uh,
He's been there.
Yeah, I know it's frustrating. And then I would ask you to write to constituent services, and we can get you that email if you would like.
Oh, I've been there.
I
I've been there. I'm
did.
so
Yeah,
sorry. I
I
did.
know.
I should
I've
have
been there
said,
too.
I should have
Feel you.
said that I did the protocols.
Mhm.
I've done the protocols. I've been there to the highest festivity. I've been there. And it's nothing that it seems like there's nothing no one can do about it. And that's the frustrations that we are seeing within the system, that no one is able to do anything until they decide that they want to move and how they want to move. But here you telling him that, oh, you got to get everything scanned, but he doesn't have a tablet. So how is it that he's gonna get anything done when he don't have a tablet?
You're absolutely right. And I would I think I can give you a few more hints, which I can do later through an email. I don't know if I'll solve your problem, but at least I can help you be a little bit of a thorn in their side. And we're going to move on to Christina.
Yes, hi, Julie. Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Christina.
Hi. Um, I want to first bring up, I don't know how many of you are aware, uh, Statesville technically closed, but not the healthcare. So there's 24, including my son, that are gravely ill, and they're housed in infirmary. So they have no Wi-Fi. Uh, you can't do a video visit with the mail, because we try to send things to my son, and I've heard it from other mothers. I don't think there's anyone working in the mail room currently. So I don't know, you know, is there a plan, Governor Pritzker or whoever else is involved, that these 24 men are going to be housed in infirmary, and basically they have no contact with their loved ones. They have one phone, and an officer has to bring it to them. That don't happen. So I've lost, where I can't even write to him. He can use his tablet. So I really don't know what we can do. And my granddaughters used to send them pictures and all that, but with 24 people, I don't think they're going to do anything. And they're just going to, separate them completely from society. Is this a gimmick to like drive them nuts? Because they are not in cells. They are like in a psych ward, basically, with a closed door. So my son has so many conditions. And so if he needs help of any kind, he can't get a hold of nobody, no buttons, no nothing. So, I mean, I have an issue with the mail, um, his tablet, the video visits. And I don't know, unless you've heard, Julie, or anyone else.
Thanks,
Me-
Christina.
huh?
Thank you. Yeah, I know it. That's just um did you click on the action link? Because for these type of things, I would ask you to click on the action link
Yeah,
and
I did. I
press,
did.
press that in
the-
your letter. Tell them that you
I
know
will. But
son.
just
And it's
wanted to know
ridiculous. So
I just want to know if anyone heard anything about it, like, are these 24 inmates going to be housed there forever? I mean, that's really what I'm looking, because I've been calling different organizations, calling Statesville. There's hardly any employees there.
Yeah, I
So,
know it. That's
yeah, it's an issue because I did send him mail. We send him pictures. He's not getting them now.
yeah, I would include that in your
Oh,
take action letter.
thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
And I did see a question about a bill number, and I'm going to refer that to James. In the chat, I saw that.
Yeah, Lizzie answered it. The bill that Rep. Freeze filed is a House Bill 5893. We do not have a bill yet. This is something that we're looking into more so, like I was speaking about earlier. We don't have a bill or a bill number yet. The only piece of legislation on this that has been filed was by Representative David Freeze.
We are working on this call to action. And so, we also are working on a legislative letter to the director about not stopping physical mail. And we're also reaching out to organizations to sign on. So if any of you know any organizations, please send them our way. And there's Jeremy with the question. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Man, thanks for y'all sharing your individual situations and experiences. And I know how frustrating it is. And we have this action letter, and that's about a policy level thing about the legislators. But I want to share maybe two other tactics that I have found to have been useful for people who are trying to make an issue about individual. Like April, you brought up how you've tried everything, right? Like the grievance process, you tried calling and stuff like that. Oh, one other option is a phone zap, right? So someone would maybe make a graphic. You would maybe find the name and the phone number of the most responsible party at that particular prison and stuff like that. Basically these prisons are getting away with this stuff in silence because they think that nobody on the outside actually has any awareness of what's happening. And maybe someone on the inside and maybe write someone to the outside and they'd let them know. But it's on us, these outside support solidarity folks, to bring this shit to the light and then put the attention right back on them. You know what I mean? So phone zap, on an individual circumstance, has been useful and effective. And sometimes everything from getting someone out from solitary confinement to overturning a particular policy or something that they're doing that is not actually, they're not following their own law. So sometimes that's a way of keeping them in check. It's just one tactic in the arsenal. And then another option, I'm just thinking about it with time when I was locked up at MCC New York and stuff like that. And there's 150 of us in a unit, and they shut down all visits and phone calls and kept us in the cells because there was two elevators, but only one of the elevators was working and stuff like that. The cops are just being kind of assholes, right? And so we went on a hunger strike. And so we all just collectively decided to refuse our trays. And then that got the captain up there immediately. And they'd be like, what's the situation? He's like, yeah, you ain't giving us our phone call. You ain't giving us our visit. Guess what? We got our visits that night. We got our phone calls that night. And obviously, it's really difficult to try to tell someone because the risks of retaliation and you choose their own level of involvement and stuff like that. But I do want to also point out that December 7th through 13th, Jailhouse Lawyers Speak has called for a nationwide prison strike inside the system, you know what I mean? And so we just think about these prisons and jails are run mostly by prisoners themselves, especially at prison, we're the ones cooking the food, cleaning and maintaining every aspect of the facility and stuff like that, just like the greater of society, right? And so I think it's time we recognize our collective power and to shut things down. They need us more than we need them, right? And I do want to focus back on this one specific policy that we're trying to influence, but I just wanted to make folks who maybe having, how do we help the folks behind bars, and so we got other options in their arsenal. Someone else asked, this is going to be real quick, but someone else also asked, hey, wait, this ban hasn't passed yet. It's not currently active and stuff like that. Yes, it's true. There's a proposed bill talking about mail scanning that has not happened yet, right? But I want to point out that even in Illinois here, it has already basically begun in quiet. For example, Illinois has banned all hardcover books in the past 6 months. That was quietly added to their website. Now, Illinois was one of the few states that we had only been able to continue sending hardcover books to. So that now we have to deal with that reality, is that we're getting rejections for that. And so that happened in quiet without public comment and stuff like that. And so that's another thing we want to go after them for. For example, also, someone else brought up on the chat, little individual jails and stuff like that have already transferred to scanning services. Adams County Jail in Quincy, Illinois, they went to a scanning service and stuff like that. And I don't know how many hundreds and hundreds of county jails and stuff like that in Illinois have quietly went to these scanning services. other stuff like we're just getting so many, like we're talking about, oh, we won't be able to hold your cards written by your kids and stuff like that anymore. Well, guess what? We people are already sending like cards and letters and stuff like that written in Quran, and those are being rejected because of just a slower, more restrictive. But I'm just giving you examples of how the ban is in many ways already here. Even if we do beat this bill, it's not enough. Like we need to really have a reckoning about what it means to this country generally, about prisons. We need an abolition, right? But until then, books till freedom, nothing less.
Thank you, Jeremy. And yes, we need to do, well, yeah, we need a new bill. And I just want to just say real quick, thank you to everyone who's put those organizations in, because we're definitely reaching out. It was so hard to try to think of them all. There's so many people doing great work out there. And if there's anyone else you can think of, let us know and we'll reach out. Okay. Any other questions?
I like, can I just add to something that Jeremy just said, Jules?
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
that is the importance of what it is that we asking to do, right? Like you come on here and it's easy to talk to somebody who understands what it is that you're going through, right? I think these are the same things that people need to hear as far as these legislators, like, right? Like, um, I know it's discouraging, but we wouldn't be asking you to do something that we don't think is going to be effective in Springfield. And I think first and foremost, that's the most important thing, right? We want to make sure that everybody is educated on what's actually going on. The fact that, Jeremy just stated the things that he's done, the things that he just stated, a lot of legislators will tell you that they don't know, right? So at the same time, while we're voicing what it is that's going on, we're also educating and we're also letting them know that they have the power to do something about this. So that is the most important part when it comes to this. So we would love for people to put exactly what it is that you would like to say in these letters, because the most important thing is that they receive it and that they see that this is an issue for a lot of people, right? So I think that's the most important thing.
Okay, I wanted to reach back to the mamas if they have anything to add. Akeisha or
No, really resonate with everything has been said, and other members of Mama spoke up earlier. So yeah, thanks for having us.
oh, thank you. And again, if there's some organizations anyone can think of, I've got some really good things written down here. So we're really grateful for that. And we're really going to do this, all of us together. We really are. We're going to not allow this to happen in Illinois. We'll be the first state in the country that has stopped the Department of Corrections from ending physical mail. It's too important. It's just, yeah. So anyone else? Lizzie, Jane?
Me?
Lizzie?
It looks like we've got two hands raised. If
Okay.
you guys want to share some last words before we finish.
Shall I
think-
go first? Hello?
I can go. I just got one question that I wanted to ask. When you said you was putting the filling out the paperwork and you said tell our stories. The question is, when we're telling our stories, can it be more than just about the physical meal? Can it be something else that maybe I wanted to put in there?
I'm going to put that to James.
I mean, I think that would be kind of like me telling you something that, that's automatic, right? You automatically going to want to fight and talk about the personal issues. But I think that we would just ask, that you that is part of your ask, right? I think we just want to make sure that we use this platform that we've created tonight in that right way. So I wouldn't want to say no, don't talk about anything else. I would just ask that you do talk about the issue at hand, because I don't even know exactly what it is that you want to say, but just me personally, I can thread it to physical mail, right? So I think that's the most important thing, that we keep that narrative going. It's not just about mail, right? It's just not about mail. There's so much more that comes with it. It's that humane aspect, right? It's that possibility that can hold on to something. Somebody doesn't have to go to the extreme lengths, to be heard. We don't want people to have to put themselves in an already precarious position, that they're locked up anyway. So I would say as long as you just speak on the issue, please, you definitely can, have your voice heard.
Oh, okay, because I already put on the part what far as with the bill. I just wanted to put submit another application so I can put some other stuff in there. That's all. That's all.
By all means.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. That's a great question. Thank you.
Nice. All right. I think Rhonda had something real quick, maybe.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone. Again, it's an honor to be here. James, if you don't have my number, let's talk soon tonight. I just want to close this out again, being Veterans Day. I spoke to LaShawn Ford, who is a House of Representative in District 8. He introduced the HB 3564, the Anthony Gay bill. Not only that, he also stated today there's another bill, and the acknowledgement of Anthony Gay, who is now deceased, and Senator Peters killed it in the Senate. So we're talking about our loved ones and the ramifications that they deal with and being put in isolation, confinement, and that should not be over 10 days. So the new bill, if you want to write this down, is HB 0046. That's a piggyback off of the HB 3564 Anthony Gay bill that was renamed by Peters and Operation Push to be the Nelson Mandela bill from Africa. And we don't negate that. We love Nelson Mandela, but Anthony Gay died in Illinois under the IDOC's watch for 22 years. So I'm going to leave that with you. And that's what we're here about, not letting your loved ones die in vain. And we can talk the talk and we got to walk the walk. That's it. And I'm done. I love you, but I'm serious about that. I'm very serious.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you for, that's a whole, there's so many things we need to fix. And I will tell you honestly that there's so many things we're trying to fix. And I'm a little bit resentful that we have to go back and really fight for this, which is just to me, a basic human right to be able to get mail. And now we have to spend time stopping them when we need someone to work on other things. But we really got some.
But it starts with the mail. And if they're put in isolation, whatever we're trying to work on, it's going to take another 5 years or more. They're not going to get nothing. And we're talking about bills being passed in legislature.
Yeah. Thank you, Rhonda, so much. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. And just if you could get your letters and think of organizations, send them to us. We will reach out. And come spring, we're going to need everyone's help in Springfield. So thank you, MAMAS. Thank you, Midwest Books to Prisoners. And truthfully, I learned some things from you that Jeremy, that were a little bit upsetting. So thank you for sharing a lot. I really appreciate it.
I just had one more quick thing to throw in there. Like we heard a lot of
Sure.
voices, and a lot of us are working with folks inside of loved ones inside and stuff like that. But one voice that's missing from this, I think, is a lot of folks don't even know that there is a bill that's in state Congress right now on the inside, right? So one thing we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be mailing the same action kit that y'all are doing today. We're going to be mailing it to everybody who's ever ordered, some books and reading materials from our organization in the past year. That's something like 2,000 people throughout IDOC that are going to be getting the same action network and they're going to be getting the same legislators and stuff like that. It's kind of atrocious that these legislators are thinking that they're going to make these bills that are going to affect the lives and humanities of the folks that they rule over without even asking. But we're going to make sure that they are held to account on that.
That's awesome. And we were talking about that today, right, Lizzie? About getting the inside voice out there because
Absolutely, we were. Yep.
they absolutely need to, they're a part of this. They matter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We matter, they matter.
Their voice matters. Absolutely.
Thank you all. Thank you all for hanging in there, and let's do this. Bye, everyone.